people! Yeah! Today I'm going to review you this book, How to Get Fucking Rich by Felix Dennis. And do you know about this guy? I found this book on actualize.org book list and I bought it not because I wanted to become rich, it would be fine to become rich, but because this guy was a poet. You know, he was from Great Britain and a poet and wrote a book about becoming rich, so I thought, why not? And I can say that at least I got my money's worth, because yesterday's videos you saw those rap battles, you know, they were kind of inspired by this book. And he's a pretty wild guy, you know, he's a pretty wild guy, or he has the seedlings of a wild American, even though he's fucking British. And he was an entrepreneur and became hugely rich due to being a publisher of magazines related to computers, which was kind of interesting, you know, business to go into, but it was the time when computers were, you know, kind of not so easily understood as maybe nowadays. And he capitalized on that opportunity and became a multimillionaire. Yeah, and it was interesting story. He told about, you know, the downsides of like being rich, having to isolate yourself and everybody, you know, being on your ass because you have so much money and this kind of stuff. And I think that you could probably devise a strategy to like deal with that probably, but still, you know, when he talked about the downsides of being rich, you know, I still felt that the upsides trumped over the downsides. He talked about how when he became hugely rich, you know, his life was pretty, you know, so to say fast, you know, he drank a lot and used drugs, cocaine, that kind of stuff, threw huge parties and had so many cars and homes and spent a lot of money on whores, which was kind of like weird, I think, but you know, I'm gonna say that if I became hugely rich, I wouldn't go around whoring and I wouldn't start using drugs, you know, or alcohol. Like, no, I believe that this guy, when you really start to like understand his story, you know, he was kind of on the bad road from the beginning. And yeah, then he talks about how he sobered up, so to say. He still drank, which was kind of, you know, lame. And this guy tells it so many times that it's not about your genius or your talent that makes you rich. And he said that if you have talent, it might even be a hindrance to you becoming rich. But he said that you should follow your talents either way. If you have those talents, you know, he's a very motivated guy. And he talks about the kind of the work ethic that he had, that he worked more than everybody else. You know, he was an entrepreneur doing that kind of thing to make a product, to get the product to people and then to sell the product to the people and keep doing that. That's very strenuous. And he talked about how it got to him. And then he talks about how he became a poet. And there were a couple of interesting rhymes in this, you know, nothing too amazing, but it was a nice thing to read this book because I'm into writing too myself. And yeah, his take on the computer world was very interesting. I'm a computer mechanic by my education, so I kind of gained something out of this, and the videos I made yesterday that I'm the new CEO of Apple, you know, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't read this book. Yeah, everything that I did before this, you know, kind of coalesced. And actualize.org book list, you know, the man has a fucking vision for you and you should get that book list and you should read those books. But if you kind of go over my book reviews, most of the books are already there. But I'm not gonna tell you which ones, but yeah, most of those books are already there. So go ahead and look at those books and if you know me like in real life, I might consider, lending some of these books to you if you are like talented in, if I see that you are going to benefit from them. I might lend these to you, but you have to kind of earn it. So go ahead and buy them if you want. So yeah, this was one of the books. It's one of my dreams to make my own private library at some point. I'm thinking about maybe I should like pose an idea. I'm going to pose an idea to the local library that could I get my own shelf over here, Truth Detective Picks. And my books, you see this one, you would never even know that this has been read like once. Most of my books are like this, I always buy new, and I have I would say about 500 books right now. So there's a lot of gems in there, like spiritual stuff, that is so rare. That is so rare. You can buy it, but it's very rare that, anybody buys this stuff. So yeah, I believe that a book like this is more, applicable to many people, but he says it pretty straight that it's pretty slim to none that you will become rich. But if you do, there are downsides, and if you do, you're gonna pay huge taxes. And he kind of is a bit bummed about that, but he's still pretty well off, or he was pretty well off. The guy's dead right now, but he wore suits and was a pretty, he looked like a fucking crazy scientist. And what he told about his youth was that he had ambition and arrogance. And he talks about becoming a predator. And he says over here that you shouldn't think that I'm here to tell you how to be a gentleman. I'm here to teach you and tell you how to become rich. And it's kind of different. And what I feel over here is that this guy is basically pretty a nice person still, and he talks about negotiation skills, and he tells that everybody almost in this world thinks that they are a better negotiator than they actually are. And maybe I'm an exception to the rule, because I know that I'm a hugely bad negotiator, and that's not one of my strong points. I get what I want. Or I don't, and I don't fucking negotiate usually. It's not my style to negotiate. And yeah, so yeah, he talks about that skill and maybe developing that. I'm gonna say that your real talents and your real skills and your real kind of genius is going to make you better at negotiation, because in negotiation you have to make the other party see that you have something special in you, and that you are not just another person trying to get something. He talks about owning a lot of stuff, owning your own companies, and owning everything you do. And from that I have had this idea of owning my own website where my videos would be. And Actualized did actually that, but he still, the videos are streamed from YouTube, but I'm thinking that I have a portfolio page, so the kind of the little push I got was that I should release some of my best videos over there also. And I'm going to do that in the future. So if you know my portfolio page, the link is all over the place in my YouTube channel. You might see the best videos are also in there, and that's one of my goals, is to expand. But what I feel from all these platforms is that when you don't control it, you won't make money off it. It's possible that you could make money off of YouTube, but what are the chances of getting to that kind of level? Well, I'm here for the long haul, I'm going to be a YouTuber for the rest of my life. I know this, but I want to expand what I do. And he talks about going to the show business. I am starting to realize that I'm a showman for sure, and I should probably, become an entertainer. But then again, you know, what I have noticed is that when you try to be entertaining and when you are actually a bit entertaining for people that are really not, you know, your target audience, and you are very different from these people, it kind of gets to you. And you see so many, you know, world-class performers being very depressed inside and this kind of stuff. And what I feel is that it might not be actually the best way to get love, you know, or be loved by other people, to become a performer. For some individuals, you know, it might be the kind of the only way that they can devise, but I feel that it might not be actually very a good idea. If that's the basic goal. I would say that becoming a performer and show businessman, it's all about self-expression, being expressive of yourself, not getting something. It's about giving. And Anthony Robbins talks about in his book this. I know that I have a giving mentality, but sometimes it kind of irks to me that I give so much and I get almost nothing back. But then again, you know, I have gotten a lot stuff, you know, back from this. But it doesn't always come the route that you expect. You just look at the end result. If it came from if it came from somewhere that you really didn't maybe directly give almost anything to, then that's okay. Like look at what you have. If you get a lot of money, but you are still kind of griped about that you are being taken advantage of over here, it might be okay when you look at what you fucking have. Like fucking shit. I think that many rich people, he talks about how rich people are usually not happy, that he has met almost no really rich happy people. And I don't know about that, because I see that that applies to almost everybody. There's very few happy people in general. So maybe it's just same in the rich people, I don't know. But he talks about how like this won't necessarily, you know, bring you this kind of happiness. And that's, of course, that's for sure, because these things are usually outside of yourself. And well, if you do this to get like into drugs heavily and that kind of stuff, then yeah, but still you're kind of fooling yourself, you know. This, you are giving too much power to this money thing that it's actually worth. Yeah. And he talks about also that every dollar in this world has a name on it, and some of those dollars have your name on it, and you have to learn how to claim those. And it's a very interesting idea. I have never heard that posed by anybody else, that there's money in the world that belongs to you, that has your name on it. And it's a very interesting idea. And what I would add to that is that claim that money without putting off the people that have the money that doesn't have your name on it. You know, claim the money, find a way to claim it that way, and you're gonna be style. You know, I feel that that's style. And what about this guy's style? I feel that I don't really maybe agree with this guy's style at all. But yeah, he talks about how owning a $5,000 suit is not going to make you smart. I'm going to say that owning a very nice suit is going to make you much smarter than you think. You know, if you have that in you, maybe it's the same with talent. If you have that in you, these material things, they can bring it out of ya. They can help you because they are going to change your habits, and habits have power. He talks about how this is not a self-help book, and maybe it's not, but still, you know, he's very motivational and very, you know, encouraging. And he talks about bravery and fear and this kind of stuff, basic emotions. And this guy is not your life coach. You know, he has himself huge amounts of bad habits. And I don't think that this man was pretty great. But when I read somebody like Anthony Robbins or listen to Actualized or read some other self-help books, for example, from Stephen Covey and this kind of stuff. These are kind of foundational building blocks to your kind of skills and abilities. But he doesn't talk about those over here. He just says that if you have those, then go ahead. But if you don't, you might have an upper hand over here becoming rich. And what I'm going to add to this, he talks about hiring people and hiring talent. And he talks about firing talent. It's a very good passage to be aware of when you have talent or if you are the one that hires talent. And he kind of, I'm going to add to that if you are a person that is not so talented yourself, but you are hugely rich and this guy says that he doesn't have talent. He has fucking amazing talent. Of course he has. You don't do those kind of, business endeavors just from the top of your hat, It doesn't work like that. You have to have some, vision and that kind of stuff. But he tells that, visionaries don't usually become rich. But I'm gonna say that everybody almost, of the top, entrepreneur guys and all, they had fucking vision. Of course they did. They freaking did something that they implemented a solution. And he talks about ideas and patents and, there's so much stuff in this fucking book, but it's all related to human doing. It's not a very spiritual or deep, this kind of thing, and it's not very psychological either. So it's just one piece of the puzzle, Read all the fucking books, Reading is pretty cheap. He's a reader too, and he talks about, owning like these, just private libraries. He has. I think that he's mentioned that he has spent at least as much money on books as these wine and that kind of stuff. And what he talked about, the use of alcohol over here, I don't really agree with. I think that it's a freaking lame way to live. Even though you might be hugely rich, I would never endorse this kind of stuff. You have seen my Prohibition Mafia videos. I'm a freaking zealot at this, and I live in Finlandia, so I'd better be. Yeah. And okay, now the slide shut off. Yeah. But thanks for watching this review. How to get rich, Felix Dennis. Yeah, hugely packed with, I don't know if it's wisdom, but at least I got my money's worth. Thanks for watching.